Hello and welcome to another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. In each episode, we take a look at a movie that is featured on Disney+. On this episode, we are taking a look at another chapter of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we take a look at Captain America: Civil War. And if you are enjoying these episodes, I do ask that you please hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified with each new episode. Now, sit back and enjoy this episode of Disney Movie Investigation. So like I said, today we're covering Captain America: Civil War. This movie was released on April 12th, 2016. It was directed by Anthony and Joe Russo. The screenplay was by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. The production companies was Marvel Studios, and it was distributed by Walt Disney Studios. The budget for this movie was $250 million, and it did a box office return of $1.155 billion. So let's take a look at the production stats. So in terms of the backstory, Anthony and Joe Russo confirmed on March of 2014 that they would be doing a third Captain America film. The screenplay had already been in development since late of 2013, and the plan was that the story was going to be a continuation of the storyline of the Winter Soldier, and it would be set a couple years after the second Captain America: The Winter Soldier film. In late October of 2014, it was announced that Robert Downey Jr. would be reprising his role as Iron Man in the film, and that they were going to adapt many of the story elements from the Civil War comic book storyline. It was also announced that Chadwick Boseman had been cast as Black Panther before as a prequel to doing his own solo film. This was ultimately going to be the start of the Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it was announced that they had made a deal with Sony Pictures that they could have the rights to use the Spider-Man character in the film. In terms of the filming of the movie, it would be shot in Atlanta at Pinewood Studios under the working title of Sputnik. On-location filming would occur around Atlanta, as well as the film was gaining hype in and around the Atlanta area as the fans began calling it Adventures 2.5. At the end of May, the Russo brothers would hold a screen test in Atlanta with 6 different teenage actors for the role of Spider-Man, and they would use this to determine if they had chemistry with both Robert Downey Jr. as well as Chris Evans. At the end of June, filming would relocate to Germany, and Henry Jackman as well was brought in to score the film, with a soundtrack being released on May 6th of 2016. But let's take a look at the cast. So we have Chris Evans, who returns as Captain America, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, Sebastian Shaw as the Winter Soldier, Anthony Mackie as Falcon, Don Cheadle as War Machine, Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff. So in terms of the plot, with many people fearing the actions of superheroes, the government decides to push for the Hero Registration Act, a law that limits the hero's actions, and this results in a division or a split between the Avengers. Iron Man stands with the act, claiming that their action must be kept in check, otherwise cities will continue to be destroyed. However, Captain America, feeling that saving the world is daring enough and that they cannot rely on the government to protect the world. This escalates into an all-out war between Team Iron Man and Team Captain America, while a new villain emerges. So in terms of the marketing of this film, it was a big movie for Marvel and Disney, and the first sign of showing that the film was coming was a post-credit scene during Ant-Man, which featured Captain America and the Winter Soldier on the search for Ant-Man. The first film footage of the movie appeared at the D23 Expo in 2015, with additional footage appearing at the Asia Pop Comic-Con. The first trailer would be released on November 15th of 2015, and that would take place on Jimmy Kimmel Live. So for those that don't know, that ABC, which is a Disney affiliate, shows Jimmy Kimmel, so it's all about synergy within the Disney company. On February 4th of 2016, Marvel would release a Facebook Friends Day video for Captain America. And this would be followed with another teaser trailer that would air during the Super Bowl. And then going back to Facebook, on Valentine's Day, a Facebook campaign would be launched with Captain America's relationship status with Iron Man being clicked on, or being stated as it's complicated. During Disney's annual shareholder meeting, Bob Iger would present a clip from the movie, and this was met with a standing ovation. So the hype was definitely building for this movie. Back to Facebook, they would release 2 trailer videos, one for Team Cap and one for Team Iron Man. In March of 2016, Marvel would partner with the National Academy of Science and Entertainment Exchange, Dolby Labs, Broadcom, and Synchrony Bank to announce the Girls Reforming the Future Challenge. So this is actually a pretty cool contest. It was aimed at females aged 15 to 18, and they could submit projects that they felt could change the world and have far-reaching effects. 5 winners would be chosen, and they would attend the premiere of Captain America Civil War at the Dolby Theater, as well as they would receive a tour of Walt Disney Studios and receive a $500 savings bond from Synchrony Bank. Ultimately, a grand prize winner would be chosen, and they would receive an internship at Marvel Studios. And then lastly, on May 2nd of 2016, Chris Evans, Jeremy Renner, and Marvel executives would ring the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange. So with this movie as well, we have the merchandise. So at the 2015 Licensing International Expo, it was announced that Disney had made partnerships with Hasbro, Lego, Funko, Hot Wheels, Kellogg's, Hallmark, and American Greetings to promote Captain America Civil War. This was further followed up with even more partnerships, including Coca-Cola, Google, Samsung, Harley-Davidson, Pizza Hut, and Pop Secret. Marvel Comics would also get into the action, releasing a 4-comic prequel series that would spread over 4 issues. So would I recommend this movie? I think this movie is great. I think it's one of the better ones of the MCU. This is what comic book movies should be like, where you get to see your favorite superheroes, whether you're Team Captain America or Team Iron Man, you get to root on to your favorites, and you get to see so many different kind of angles of a story, and you get to see so many of your favorite superheroes. I think, again, we know this was a kind of continuing development for Avengers coming up in 2019, like the Endgame, and with the Thanos storyline, that was the ultimate conclusion. But I like this one as a chapter in that storyline. I think it was really good. You see kind of the 2 sides splitting, and again, there were some great performances, especially from Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. They both knocked it out of the park. And then the fact that I remember the lead up to this, like, oh my God, we get to see Spider-Man in a Marvel movie, which was not possible at the time, or before that time. So I think this one, if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth checking out. And it's one definitely that I watch on repeat several times throughout the year. So definitely check it out. So thank you so much for joining us here on another episode of Disney Movie Investigations. I would invite anyone to please leave a comment below on what they think of Captain America Civil War. And as we move away from the MCU, on our next episode, we're going to be taking a look at the controversial film Borat. So until next time, I hope you have a magical day, and we will see you real soon.